independent assortment, and that is also known as, and again this law of segregation is also known as first law of genetics. Now when we will discuss the law of independent assortment, it is also known as second law, and it is based on inheritance of two genes, and it is derived from dihybrid cross. So in case of dihybrid cross, the plants were crossed which differ in two pairs of contrasting characters. In one of the crosses, Mendel took the shape of the seed and color of the seed and worked out how the law of independent assortment is working. So, law of independent assortment, it is based on the inheritance of two genes, and it is also based on the dihybrid cross. So, let us draw the dihybrid cross, and from that we can derive everything. So, in one of the dihybrid crosses, Mendel took round seeds which are yellow in color. That means capital Y, capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y, and made a cross with wrinkled and green seeds. These are smaller, smaller, small y, small y. The F1 hybrid was capital R, small r, capital Y, and small y. This is the F1 hybrid. Now from this F1 hybrid, how many gametes will be possible? That is important. If you can understand that, then you can easily understand the whole explanation, how it is the independent law of independent assortment. Now when this plant will be intercrossed, it will produce four types of gametes. How? Now you see, this is capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. How it is producing four types of gametes, very easily you can do for any type of complex this number of alleles. Here they are two, and here also two, both are in heterozygous state. So easily you can tell that it is 2 into 2 is 4. But how to solve it? You apply dichotomous branching. First you take R. That means one gamete will be capital R, the other will be small r. Then this capital R can combine with the capital Y and can combine with small y. This small r can combine with the capital Y and also small y. That means this will give rise to capital R, capital Y. This will give rise to capital R, small y. This will give rise to small r, capital Y. This will give rise to small r, small y. These are the four types of gametes. This is known as a dichotomous branching. And by applying this method, you can do easily try hybrid and higher process. Now, how it is possible? That means during gamete formation, these two, the capital, R, capital small r, they belong to the shape of the seed. And capital Y and small y, they belong to the color of the seed, whether it will be yellow or it will be green. That means during gamete formation, the 50% of the gametes have capital R and 50% have small r. 50% have small r. Similarly, for the color of the gene, 50% have capital Y and 50% have small y. 50% have small y. Because during the gamete formation, there is segregation of characters. So naturally, as we have discussed in the law of segregation, That means if 50% of the gametes will have a capital R, 50% small r. 50% of gametes will have a capital Y, 50% will be small y. As a result, what will happen? Now this capital R not only combines with this, we have taken a round and yellow. That means capital R not only combines with the capital Y, it can also combine with the small y. Similarly, small r combines here with the small y, but it can also combine with the capital Y. So, if we will draw the checkerboard, capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. This is in the, suppose the male side. Now this side also female side, capital, capital, this is capital small y, small r, capital Y, small y. This is the female side and this is the male side. Now you see, when this, they will combine in any way they like, because this capital R is not permanently associated with the capital Y, or the small r is not permanently associated with the small y. That means, when these crosses will be made, what will happen? You see, here it will be capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital I. Here it will be capital R, capital Y, small y. Here it is capital R, capital Y, small y, and capital R, capital Y, small y. And here capital R, capital Y, small y, capital R, small y, capital R, capital Y, small y, and capital R, small y, small y. Here you see capital R, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, small y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r, capital Y, small y. Here capital R, capital Y, small y, capital R, small y, small y, and this will be small r, capital Y, small y, and small r, small y, small y. In this way they are obtained. So you will find here you see capital R, capital Y is there. This will be round and yellow. This will be round and yellow. Now here capital R, capital Y is there. That means all this side will be round and yellow. Then here capital R is there and here capital Y is there. So this will also be round and yellow. Here capital R, Y here capital R, so this will be also round. That means at this round and yellow are 9. This is round and yellow, parental side. Now you see, here what is happening? Here it is round, but small y is there. That means green. So such round and green, how many are there? Now you see, here it is round and green. Then here it is round and green. And here it is round and green. That means, see, at 3 places, round and green, there are 3 places. Now see, at these 3 places, what is there? At these places, capital Y is there, that is yellow color, but small are there, that means it's a wrinkled. So it is a wrinkled yellow, and the wrinkled yellow are 3. Wrinkled yellow 3, and the last one is a wrinkled and green. So wrinkled and green 1. That means, out of these 4 different types, this is parental type, this is parental type. That means 9 plus 1, these 2 are parental types. But you see these 2 types. That means, initially round was associated with yellow color. But in F2 generation, we have seen that this capital R is also associating with the green color small y. That means capital R is not permanently associated with capital Y. It can also combine with small y. That is why this round and green color is possible. Similarly, you see wrinkle and yellow. The wrinkle was associated initially with green color, but it is also associated with capital Y. So this wrinkle and yellow color is possible. So in the F2 generation, the phenotypically they are giving rise to 9:3:3:1, 9:3:3:1, and these two are recombinants. So the formation of the recombinants is possible. It is because of the independent assortment of the genes. That means this is the shape of the seed. This is the color of the seed. That means the inheritance of shape of seed is independent of the inheritance of the color of seeds. Each one is independent because the gametes are segregating. Each one is 50%. The male side, they are capital R and small r segregating, and the Y is also segregating. And anyone can combine with anyone, as I have shown here in the case of dichotomous branching. And if we will again find how many of these are produced. Now see the round and yellow. The round and yellow, these are capital R, capital R, capital Y, 1. Then capital R, small r, capital Y, and capital Y. These are 2 in number. Then there is a capital R, capital Y, small y. These are 2 in number. And then there is a capital R, capital Y, small y. These are 4 in number. From this checkerboard also you can see. That means in all these 4 types, that means this 9, it is giving the 1:2:2:4. That means here 4 genotypes are there. 1, this is only 1 in number. This is 2 in number. Capital R, small r, and capital Y, capital Y. They are only 2 in number. And capital R, only 1 capital Y, otherwise they are 2 in number. And capital R, small y, like this, they are 4 in number. That means this 9 is genotypically of 4 types. 1, 2, 2, 4. Now come to this 3. Now these 3, usually they will be capital R, and small y. This will be 1. And the other is capital R, small y. This will be 2. So they will be round and green. Now you come to these 3. Now these 3 will be wrinkle and yellow. So these will be small r, because they are wrinkled. Small r, capital Y. This will be 1. And the other is small r, capital Y, 2. Then this one is small r, y, and y, this one. That means the 9, that means the 9:3:3:1. Now this 9 is of 4 types. 1:2:2:4. We have written here. This 3 is of 2 types. 1:2. This 3 is of 2 types genotypically. 1:2. And this is 1 type, is to 1. So this is the genotypic ratio. This is the genotypic ratio, which usually we, for our easy method remembering, usually we used to tell 1:2:1, then 2:4:2, then 1:2:1. Easy to remember. That means just we reshuffle slightly. So 1:2:1, 2:4:2, 1:2:1. But up to this 9, up to this 3, up to this 3, and that is 1. This is genotypic ratio. So all these are possible because the inheritance of the shape of the seed and color of the seed is independent of each other. That is why 4 types of gametes are possible on the male side, 4 types of gametes are possible on the female side. That is why all types of recombinations is possible. This is known as law of independent assortment. Now this law of independent assortment, it is applicable, we will summarize it. It is applicable only to those characters which are present, whose genes are present either in different chromosomes or if in the same chromosome, they are present far apart from each other. That is important. That means the genes are present in different chromosomes or far away from each other on same chromosome. If they are present in the same chromosome, they are far apart from each other, so that there can be easily crossing over or recombination, or else they may present different chromosomes. That is one important point. The second important point is, usually in a chromosome, there is not a single chromosome. Hundreds of genes are present in a chromosome. And during inheritance, during meiosis, the entire chromosome is passing from the parents to the offspring. That means in a chromosome, whatever number of genes are present, all of them are inherited together. That is known as a linkage group. That is a linkage group. So all the genes are linked together and they form a linkage group, unless there is a recombination crossing over. So they form a linkage group unless there is a crossing over. If there will be crossing over when there is placed far apart, then can be separated. Otherwise, all of them are inherited together to the offspring in the form of a group. That is not a linkage group. So when all of them are linked together, there cannot be any independent assortment. That means linkage is an exception to independent assortment. Exception to independent assortment. That means if there is independent assortment, there is no linkage. Or you can tell if there is a linkage, there is no independent assortment. Now, another very important thing. We have discussed in one of the videos that Mendel was lucky. Why? Because when Mendel took 7 pairs of contrasting characters, they are present in 4 different chromosomes. And 2 such pairs of characters, they are present in the same chromosome. And they are placed very close to each other. But Mendel has never taken that pair of contrasting characters. So what are they? Usually the plant height and pod shape. Both these are present in chromosome number 4. And they are very closely placed to each other. So always the recombination doesn't take place between them. But luckily, Mendel has never tried a combination between plant height and pod shape. That is why usually it is told that Mendel was lucky. So this is about the different the laws, inheritance of one gene, inheritance of 2 genes, and the laws of inheritance. Now let us discuss MCQs. So in one MCQ we can write Mendel's principle of segregation. Mendel's principle principle of segregation means that the given cell always receive first choice one pair of alleles, second choice 1/4 of the alleles, third choice one of the paired alleles, and the fourth choice any pair of alleles. So this question was once asked in AFMC. Now come to the second question. The second question is gametes are never hybrid. It is a statement of law of first choice, law of dominance, second choice, law of segregation, third choice, law of independent assortment, and fourth choice, random fertilization. Now let us discuss the third question, and also very good question. How many gametes can be formed? How many gametes can be produced when the plant capital Y, smaller, and capital T, small t, when the plant is intercrust. So first choice 2, second choice 4, third choice 6, and fourth choice 8. This is also very good question. So I hope now you have very clear understanding about the laws of inheritance, which is popularly known as Mendelism. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a good day.